So we're completing our argument notes. And we are skipping the reason part for the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech, note-taking. Just note, we're going to skip the reason section. But we went out over the claim. The claim of the speech is the author's purpose. And let's review. Now you have knowledge about the goal of the 1963 March on Washington. It wasn't just to talk about civil rights. There was an exact purpose, and we talked about this in class. That purpose was to get the Civil Rights Bill on the floor of Congress and to get it voted into law, the Civil Rights Bill. And it took months and months and months after. I think it was probably 9 to 11 months after when it finally got voted into law in 1964. So that is the purpose. That's what we wrote here. And we also already had it in our notes for the soapstone section. The author's purpose became the claim. Just to review some evidence, most of the evidence about why they're marching is in the history. The main two ideas was the history of the Emancipation Proclamation being a logical proof why rights were needed. Should have been given then, it hasn't. And then the second reason is a metaphor which builds off history, because he compares the idea of cashing a check to getting rights from government documents, and that check defaulted. So those were the main two pieces of evidence that we talked about in class. And then I said, come up with your third one on your own. Some students said they were pulling from other boxes, and then they changed their mind. They thought that after my presentation, what they were really finding was the acknowledge and respond. So let's talk about those boxes. You're going to do this third one on your own. If you get stuck, send me an email. But now let's talk about the acknowledge box and the respond. So the acknowledge part is actually a counter argument. We're acknowledging the other side. In the I Have a Dream speech, Martin Luther King Jr. isn't going to acknowledge people who are arguing against rights. That's not his goal. He's moved on from that argument. So it's a more nuanced acknowledge. So the first group he talks to acknowledge is people who agree with his cause, but what do they want to use? They want to use violence. Or they're not sure nonviolence is going to work, and he's quickly acknowledging to them their idea and then emphasizing his refutation that nonviolent protest is the best option. Notice it's very quick. It's that first paragraph, probably in our copy, lines 54 to about 60. Then he acknowledges another group of people who say, when will you be satisfied? In class, we summarize that in different ways to interpret that question. When will you be satisfied? When will you stop feeling like you have to protest? When will you stop interrupting our cities, our towns, our counters? When are you going to be happy enough? And there's kind of a little bit of backhandedness in that question that some people might be asking at that time. So what is his response? This is a really long list. Using that repetition, we've given that repetition a rhetorical name, a literary device, anaphora. And he says, we will not be satisfied until. And he goes through a long list of reasons. And this is in lines 70 through 82. And he just builds all these reasons that they will not be satisfied. Mobility, when you're traveling, can you get a hotel? Where you can live, from one ghetto to another. Economic stability. He goes through a whole bunch of refutations about when they will be satisfied. And the big ending to it, he uses some biblical metaphors. Look, I'm going to quote a line. No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. He ends with that metaphor at the end of that paragraph. So that is a place to add your notes of the counter argument, which is the acknowledge, and his response, his refutation. Pull your ideas and your quotes from those passages, those areas. More evidence he has might come from the urgency of now. Some people might creatively find a way to get evidence from the I Have a Dream part or Let Freedom Ring, but a lot of that is building the pathos of the piece. He's trying to create a mood in his audience now, and to persuade them to continue their marching, to not run out of hope. His primary audience in the I Have a Dream speech
is his supporters. He's acknowledging how hard it was for them to even just travel there and how tired they may be. This is one of those rhetorical masterpieces that uses a lot of history, a lot of metaphors, a lot of biblical language, and that anaphorid reputation. So let's review. We're reviewing how to analyze an argument. And we've gone over evidence, we've gone over the claim. And now we've learned the acknowledged response is really a counter-argument refutation. Good luck.